On this week's episode, my special friend and guest is Stephanie Worrell. She is a highly sought after senior consultant who combines her strengths in the areas of public relations, strategic planning, executive coaching, and motivational speaking to advise clients across the world, primarily in the areas of healthcare, technology, and education. And Stephanie and I have known each other for a really long time, and we worked together way back when we very first started our businesses, and she is just phenomenal. You are going to get some good nuggets from this podcast, so stay tuned. But first, I need to tell you about DoorDash. If you don't already know about DoorDash, it's a great way to support your local restaurants with safe, no contact delivery. And if you use my offer, you can get $30 off or $10 off each of your orders for the first 3 orders when you sign up with my link. Go to peppershock.com/offers and find my DoorDash link for you to get $30 for free if you're a first-time user of DoorDash. I just love DoorDash when I don't want to cook, or if we're in a hurry and we need to just get dinner right done and we can get it delivered. It's a way to support our locals that really need us right now, our local restaurants who need us. So go to peppershock.com/offers and get yourself your link to DoorDash and get $30. Otherwise, $10 off each of your first 3 orders that you place. So that, and then I want to tell you about my little marketing nugget of the week. So marketing essentials, the basics that you need in order to continue to build your brand and your bottom line. One of the things that we talk about is fun, fame, and fortune. So when we look for clients that we want to work with, right? And then you can implement this into your business too, whatever it is that you do. Are the new clients that you're looking for, are they going to be fun to work with? Is it going to be a good fit? Is it going to fit your culture? Is it going to be that these people that you're going to work with are the ones that are going to give you the fulfillment of being able to work for them and serve them? So fun. Fame. Are you going to be able to utilize this project or this client or this, whatever it is that you're doing to be able to share the message and, get those referrals because of the work that you're doing? So fame, right? Is it going to be a good fit for you to then be able to tell everybody else about what it is that you're doing and how you're doing it and what you're doing, right? So that's the fame. And then fortune, is it going to make you a fortune? Or at least, are you going to be profitable? Is it going to be sustainable? Is it something that you're going to be able to continue to build and make some money on, right? Even if you're a nonprofit, right? There's still, you still have to mind your bottom line. And so fun, fame, and fortune, what can you do to find the right clients and think about how at least 2 of those, maybe all 3 would be amazing, right? Just same thing as like better, faster, cheaper, right? You can only pick 2 because if you want something faster, it may not be cheaper. If you want something better, it may not be faster. You get to pick 2. So same thing, fun, fame, and fortune, pick at least 2. If you get all 3, you're awesome. And then same thing with better, faster, cheaper. You get to pick 2, okay? So there's my little marketing nugget of the week. Get the right people in your door, seek the right ones that are going to be where you want to be in your business. All right, without further ado, let's listen to Stephanie Worrell's interview.
Welcome to Peppershock Media's Marketing Expedition podcast, keeping you up to date with the latest in marketing and advertising. Now here's your host, Ray Allen.
Welcome to the Marketing Expedition podcast. I'm your host, Ray Allen, and the founder of the Marketing Expedition community and co-founder of Peppershock Media. Today's guest is Stephanie Worrell, and Stephanie and I have been friends for a really long time, and we worked together way back. And welcome to the show, Stephanie.
Yeah,
How are you?
Thank you so much. I'm so honored to be here. Yeah, I remember, Ray, back in 2003 when you started your company, and it's just been amazing to watch your journey. I think we both watched each other have our children, and not literally,
yeah.
but been through all those stages together. And so it's just really exciting it's been really a pleasure to watch everything you've done with Peppershock, you and your husband, Drew. So thanks for having me on the podcast.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm so glad that we got to reconnect. You've moved across the country to the other side.
Yeah.
and you're there, and you called it you're the mom manager. What did you call it?
I'm a momager. I'm also, we're doing some other things, but yes, we moved to about 4 years ago. We moved out. We still have our home in Boise, and my husband's still teaching at Bishop Kelly, but we moved out to Boston, took a second an apartment, and so that my son could go to prep school out here, so he could play hockey. We were traveling all over like Canada. He was playing on a team in Utah, California, and was missing 20 days of school or more every year. And so he got recruited to come out to the New England area and play hockey out here. And it's been a great road. It's a rough road. But yeah, I can't believe it's been 4 years ago. So yes, and I'm here kind of help managing both our teenage son and his hockey career. So pretty and academic. So.
And meanwhile, you also have a company, and you are running the company at the same time. Tell our audience what it is that you do, Steph.
Yeah, I have a company, a PR and marketing company, primarily PR, called Sedulo. And then I'm also teaching at Boston University. So I've managed to keep very, very busy since I've moved out here, which has been good. And I think kind of like most people, the pandemic was kind of interesting. So have just kept plugging along. And I love PR especially, and marketing, and keep busy. Just when I'm not at the hockey rink, I'm writing away, calling away, pitching away. So.
And you and I bonded over the fact that we're kind of night owls and like to work late at night, right?
Yes. So I'm in my prime from 3 p.m. in the afternoon until about 1 a.m. in the morning. So, I mean, I do obviously have to do other things, but I during the day I have to get up at some point. But I do love working late into the evening. And my mom used to say I had a fertile mind after 3 o'clock. So.
I can agree with that on my end too. Lots of things get done after everybody else goes to sleep, and then that's when you can actually get some work done.
Yeah, and I think being a mom and wife and a mom, all the things that you have to do for your family too. That's I when my kids were younger, like yours, I would take a break and work, whether at school, take a break, and then get back online and work afterwards, so I could spend time with them and do the things I needed to do for my family. But it was kind of I don't know, if I wasn't a night owl before, I definitely was after I started my first business. So
yeah, that is true. Yeah, and people who are early birds, yeah, okay, but don't ask me to do an early morning meeting at 6 or 7 a.m. That's just not my style. No, thank you.
We're getting a new couch, and they called and said they're coming at 6:45 in the morning, and oh boy, that's going to be a rough one. So anyway.
Right? I know. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about some of the work that you've done in the past. And since we are going on a marketing expedition together, our listeners love to listen in on ways or ideas or things that they can do in their own business. And, of course, like if they were to hire a professional, what would that look like? How would they work with a PR person? And what kind of things have you done? So, like, what are some clients that you serve? How do you serve them? What are some things that you do as a PR professional?
Yeah, thanks, Ray. Like I mentioned before, PR is my passion, but today in today's world, everything is integrated. So a lot of times I do focus on PR with clients, but I try to partner with people like yourself on the marketing end who have expertise. In fact, we're about to, with a partner of mine, embark on a podcast, and I was looking for somebody professional to help us with it, and you came right up to mind. So, but in terms of clients that I've worked with, I started my first business with a partner in Boise, Red Sky PR, and we really had to be generalists. So worked on all different kinds of accounts, people that needed PR. In fact, that's how we met. College of Idaho, Western College of Idaho was one of those first clients that we worked together and pulled you in to do some video in the advertising segment of the work. But we had a little office in San Francisco, worked, CPG Albertsons was one of our big clients, and I've maintained a relationship with them throughout the years. And then over the last few years, though, I've really focused in the healthcare space and really have a passion for that. And so work with pharmaceutical companies, all different kinds of, I've got a healthcare technology company that's actually based in Salt Lake City. And so helping them with, just really tell their story, because it's really, really important from the very beginning that people either where they're in launch or they're, they've been around for a while, just really making sure that they can tell their story to not just the media, but they're, it's an online world now, which we all know. And so it's important that, they are able to reach their target audience in all different mediums at this point. It's not just about customers that are in the grocery store or, it's about reaching them online, bus stops, all, media, all those different avenues that you can, you can actually reach your audience. It's, influencers. So that's kind of what I do is really help them tell their story and go from there.
And you've managed some crisis PR campaigns, or in the moment when somebody really needs a PR person because something's gone wrong. Tell us about a story that happened that you helped somebody through some crisis.
Yeah. I do love crisis, not in my personal life, but I do love to, definitely not in my personal life, but try to avoid that. But professionally, I do love it. It's kind of like a puzzle to me to help put together and hopefully come out with a decent outcome, help companies, individuals through crisis communications. Probably the one that stands out the most to me is when Steve Appleton was killed in the plane crash, the Micron CEO, which most people are still familiar with. We were working with Micron at the time, and they were in between corporate communication leaders, and I was working with that team and I had gone in it was on a Friday morning, I'll never forget. And I got into work and I had been out at Micron quite a bit. And I thought, I don't have any meetings out there today. I'm going to, I was dressed down and I'm going to get some work done. And I got in there and I got a text from one of the team members out there saying, we need you to come out here right away. And we can't tell you what it is. So I was like, well, okay. Went out there and that's exactly what had happened. Steve Appleton had been perished in a plane crash. And so, a lot of their leadership team was on in the San Francisco Bay Area at the time. So getting everybody back there, helping the team get a war room set up, just really putting everything into place to help manage the crisis, keep people calm. Everything from, the coroner called and they were looking for fingerprints and to identify his body, it's just things that you just don't think of on a day-to-day basis. It was really pretty crazy. But what I do is go in and help teams and help companies stay calm, help them with their messaging and set up the war room. And when we ended up doing everything from helping manage the initial crisis, they had to stop trading, which that was something that on the they're a public company, so they had to stop trading. That wasn't something that I'd ever dealt with as a PR professional. So it was very complex and complicated, and then very, very sad. He was much beloved at Micron, and not just at the Boise site, but around the world. And so there was also that component of helping put messaging together and forums for the teams around the world, people around the world, to be able to pay tribute to Steve, to vent, to talk about their memories and send condolences to the family. So it was really crisis, internal, and then we even worked with them in terms of the funeral, managing the media there. It was quite a journey. And I remember one of the toughest things that I ever had to task that I have ever had in my life, and it really wasn't PR related, but I was tasked to go out and be at the site where he was buried. Yeah. And we had to and I was tasked with starting the music that his wife wanted to have played as a flyover happened. And I was so nervous that I was going to not press the button, at the right time. I just, you just wanted it to be perfect. And it sounds like such a menial task, but it was meaningful. And so you just never know in a crisis what you're going to, what's going to happen. But anyway.
Yeah, no. And that's why people in the world need people like you to help manage and keep the calm and, what to do and just thinking for them in a way, because not only are they dealing with this, but they're also, having to deal with grief and the emotion that came with it at the same time. So crisis in communication can definitely be a useful resource for when you need it, right? That's
Exactly.
I'm so
Yeah.
glad that you could help them in that moment, right? I remember the story. I was working for a TV station at the time. I remember the footage and, you know, things that came up about it, and I remember when all that was going on. So, okay, I have a couple questions for you. You ready?
Sure.
Ready? Okay, let's talk a little bit about your background. What led you into this path of PR, and how did you kind of get from A to B? What happened in your world?
Yeah, that's an interesting question. Let's see if I can remember. No, just kidding. Really, when I was in high school, I like there was a lot of my friends were in the AP courses, and I was a student. I was a student athlete, and didn't take school as probably. I mean, I got good grades, like A's and B's. I could have done better. I was kind of the class clown a little bit, and anyway, but I was a decent writer, and so I got into ended up signing up for one of the AP writing English classes. And it really changed my life. I learned that I could be a writer and how much I just really, really loved writing and communicating. And I had a really, Mrs. Stricker, she really pushed me hard. And I ended up then, when I was trying to decide what I was going to do in college, I thought about journalism. I was, I thought maybe I'd be a newspaper reporter or something like that. And then all of a sudden I became aware of this PR. Uh, PR marketing track, and thought this really sounds fascinating. So I started down that track really right away in college. I played college softball at one university, and then I ended up transferring eventually to Iowa State University, where I went for my undergraduate and graduate degree and studied in the journalism and PR department, and just had great professors and just I just dreamt of, we do study crisis situations and, telling stories for big and small brands. And I just fell in love with it. So, went to undergraduate school, graduated, got into the sports world a little bit, did sports information, and then ended up doing an internship out in Boise, which is how I got there. Along the way in Ames, Iowa, at Iowa State, I met my husband. And so once I was finishing up my master's degree, the Big Sky Conference in Boise, that was in Boise at the time, now in Salt Lake City, offered me a full-time job. So I coerced my husband, my fiance at that time, to come out to Boise and worked in sports PR for a little bit, worked with the NCAA. While I was at Iowa State, I worked in sports information and really liked that. But the conference office moved at one point to Salt Lake City, and my husband was teaching at Bishop Kelly, and we really loved Boise, and we wanted to stay there. So, and we were getting ready. We started to think about a family. So I went to the YMCA for a little while and helped them open up the West Y, and worked there for 6 years. Really, it was the membership director, but did some marketing PR, and it was a great experience opening up that West Y. Now it's over 20 years old. I can't believe it. We bought a house behind the West Y, and we're all in. But I just had this inkling or this itch that I really want to just get back into PR. So when my daughter was little, I went ahead and approached a local Boise firm to see if they had anything that I could, get back in to the PR field. And I did, and job shared for a while. And then that became a full-time, and I eventually became a vice president there. And then I just started thinking, I grew up, my father had his own business, and it was a family business, and back in Iowa in the farming industry. And I always said, I'm never going to own my own business. I am never going to do this. I'm never going to do it. But
Famous last words.
I do, because now that's all I do is I either help people start businesses. So that's in addition, like that's one of my bigger passions right now is I love PR and marketing, but I love being my own boss, and I love helping other people start their own businesses. So anyway, joined up with the brilliant Jessica Flynn, and we started Red Sky PR, and had a really good run. And it eventually I decided that I needed to make a change and left Red Sky, and they've gone on to do some really great things. And I ended up working with in the healthcare industry for a little while as a consultant, and then moved to Boston and was the senior vice president of a large global PR agency in the healthcare sector, did that for a couple of years. Again, decided I just really wanted to work for myself, even though I'd always sat in the classroom when I was an undergraduate thinking, oh, I really want to work for one of those big agencies. It was a great experience. It just wasn't something that I was going to enjoy long term. And now I'm consulting again and helping clients, and really, really love it. So,
They always say that entrepreneurs don't make great employees.
I would say that's true.
I think that's very true. I don't know that I would be a great employee after I've been an entrepreneur.
Yeah,
I would just want to fix
yeah,
it or do something to help it and
yeah,
be the leader, right? And not
yeah,
be able to be an employee. But
yeah.
it's true.
It is true. And the one thing about being an entrepreneur is I like being in charge of my own destiny. I mean, I think the pandemic has been and I know a lot of people that have their own businesses have suffered. And I had a huge scare where I lost a really big client at the beginning of the pandemic, and I didn't know what the heck we were going to do. My husband's salary at Bishop Kelly just was not going to probably cut it for us to stay out here. And I just picked myself up and got scrappy, and I was able to continue to build back what I had lost, and everything was fine. I just really like being in charge of my own destiny versus somebody else, worried every day, am I going to get laid off, or are they going to close, and that kind of thing. I just believe in myself that, I'm the best person to take care of myself and my family. And that's really the road where I'm at now, is just really appreciating working for myself and working with some great clients. So.
And you have plans for when your husband retires, right? I mean, you're contemplating on what you're going to do after that, but you're going to continue with the business, but now you're just going to have to decide where you're going to stay, right?
Yeah, exactly. I never thought, we love Boise, and I love my house there. We absolutely love it, but it has been really interesting. It's been cool. We thought when we first came out here, not only to support my son and I'm glad we've had a parent out here. That was the main thing in case he got hurt. And then I definitely am a momager, but just really being able to, we fell in love with New England. So we're really trying to figure out once Wes retires in a year or two, kind of where we want to land. I can't see us ever completely selling our house, but I also can't, my daughter is, she goes to College of Idaho. She's in Caldwell, and go Yotes. And she wants to go to grad school out here. I don't know. It's really, it's a whole different place, right. But we are trying to kind of figure out how we're going to settle in. And I'm working on some things, obviously with you, that we've talked about in terms of a podcast and doing some influencer things to maybe give us that option. To maybe stay out here a bit and go back and forth. So
from Boise to Boston, all they need to do at the Boise airport is just make a direct flight, right? And then you could just
that would be nice. And they're getting more.
I heard they just got one to Atlanta, so you're getting closer.
I guess it just did New York and Nashville.
That's right.
Recently.
I heard that too.
So you never know. It's not so bad. We usually go to Salt Lake, which is a quick flight. And then there is a direct from Salt Lake, or you can go to Seattle. There's a little bit bigger of a layover, but you can get to Boston fairly easy. It's a hike, but it's not, you wouldn't have to go, 3 different airports, which is good. So,
yeah. Well, and during the pandemic too, I'm sure that, flying is a little bit different now, but I'm sure eventually it'll get a little easier and flying won't be as, I don't know. You've flown a few times during the pandemic. What was it like for you?
We have, my family and I have flown a little bit. We don't want this to continue, but it has been nice. You get a lot of extra room.
Yeah.
It's every other seat, or sometimes I'll get bumped up to first class and I'll have the whole row to myself, and I don't really complain, but we need it to get back to full force. And hopefully we'll do that soon. And anyway, so yeah.
Yep. So I'm calling it BC before COVID and AC after COVID. So
exactly.
Get there. But yeah. So okay. You obviously are teaching a couple classes at Boston University, and I'm at Boise State. So you get to come be a speaker at my class, and I get to speak at your class. Yeah. And but what are you teaching right now? Portfolio, and what was the other one?
I've got portfolio. I've got 2 sections, portfolio, and I've got ad management, which I think is very similar to what you're teaching at Boise State. So that was kind of fun to hear that you're teaching that. And then also teaching fundamentals of creativity. I have an undergraduate a mixed undergraduate and graduate section of that. It was really awesome. I just was able, having you on the in class recently to talk to my students, my portfolio students, about what they need to succeed. It was really awesome. So been great to reconnect, and our paths are very similar, and we have some similar habits too. So.
Yes, exactly. And I did order that book that you recommended that you use in your class, the Whipple, or what was it called? Oh, it's in the other room, but the Whipple.
Hey, Whipple Sniff. I think it.
Yeah.
Anyway, it sounds like it's got a crazy title, but it is a great marketing book, and it's really easy to read. And anyway, and it's about creativity, but it also is about the advertising, because I mean I've done a lot of PR, so the thing about BU, I was teaching some PR, just 1 or 2 PR classes, but they needed somebody this year to teach full time in the ad track, and that I was over my skis a little bit in terms of the advertising classes, but it's been great in terms of really learning more about the industry and how to blend the two together and really be effective. But yeah.
Okay, so I found it. It's Hey Whipple, Squeeze This, The Classic Guide to Creating Great Ads by Luke Sullivan and Edward Boches.
Edward Boches. In fact, he was teaching the classes before I was teaching it. Amazing, brilliant man. And I always call it Hey Whipple Sniff in my class because I can't remember the whole title. So sorry. But anyway, and now my students know that it's Hey Whipple Sniff. So
there you go. Well, what are some other resources or other books or maybe podcasts that you listen to, or things that our listeners could glean, just a glimpse of what it is that you get, where you get your information from?
Yeah. I really love, there's Erica Nardini, who is the CEO of Barstool Sports. She does, it's got a marketing focus, the state of the industry. She has an amazing guest. She's a little, not raunchy, but maybe rowdy. So if you have some language, I don't personally swear a lot, but I don't mind it. It's not that bad, but I just want to, wouldn't have it on if you have some young kids, you might want to, it's not too bad. But anyway, so that's one of my favorites. I really love podcasts. There's the other person that has really inspired me, and I read religiously. Well, I love Medium. I don't know if anybody uses Medium, but there's so many great writers on there, and there's a guy named Benjamin Hardy that I absolutely love. He is I think he's a PhD in psychology, but he's all about behavior and motivation. And I'm always taking workshops and those kind of things from different people, but him especially. He's got one called AMP right now that I love, and I'm going through it and he kind of helps you really think about your goals and how to make them come to fruition. He has this really neat program this year where you pay a pretty steep amount up front, but if you achieve all of your goals based on everything he does with you, you get all the money back. So it's so it's he's really amazing. And then in Boise, one of my favorite people, Rhonda Conger. I don't know if you know Rhonda, but she was her son is a great hockey player, older than my son, but they're kind of the reason that she and her family are one of the reasons we found out about prep school and moved out here. She's amazing. She's got a podcast and daily inspirational emails and a book called Better Humans that I really love. And I give it to everybody that I meet. I try to, so Rhonda, and she speaks there locally. She's a great speaker. So, whenever, she's always positive.
Yeah, I've heard her speak before at the Women in Leadership Conference at Boise State. And she's just phenomenal. She, she's a little raunchy too, but she, it's fun to listen to her. She's such high energy, right? I mean, and she just brings everybody together, and you cannot sleep while you're going to be wide awake watching her speak, because she's definitely got, and I've had her book signed. And so because I ended up with a couple copies, I too gave it to people. I'm like, you've got to read this, Be a Better Human. And she's got another one out now too. I can't think of the name of it.
I think 3 altogether. Anyway, so but that's one of my favorites. I think she just relaunched Better Human. I think recently, updated it. So anyway,
I didn't realize she had a podcast. I'll have to go download that one too and add it to my list. That's awesome.
Yeah, it's just once a week, and I think for like half an hour, so it's not a real long one. But she's she covers some really good topics. And it's just, like I said, that her whole family and they're just amazing, an amazing family. Her son's actually back out here, the oldest one that plays hockey. And it's,
Oh,
so hopefully he's going to graduate and we'll get to see her. So anyway, so if you want a local favorite, Aronica Kronger, she's a great speaker. And anyway, just a great all around human being.
right. And she is the vice president of Corey Barton Homes, right? And she,
Yes. Yeah.
led a
CBH.
team through all the years,
Yeah.
and she's pretty much leading the company now, from my understanding. And she just has a lot of good wisdom and things that she's done to help lead her team and keep them, going. And they have been award winning and have built so many
Yeah.
homes and all this in this area. So yeah, definitely
And
something.
I don't know the current stat, but at one point they were leading the nation in their price point.
Mhm.
I mean, so they're doing that. It's CBH. They rebranded.
Oh,
It used
right.
to be Core Barton, and anyway, they're not just doing amazing things locally, but on the national scale. In fact, and our first little home was one of Corey's first homes out in Columbia Village. So
Oh,
I've always had we had a great experience then, and a great
yeah.
guy, and it's been fun to see how he's grown the business. And
Yeah.
I think he's still involved in the company, but Rhonda does play a big part in the day-to-day running of the company.
That's what my understanding. And yeah, CBH Homes. That was our first home too. When Drew and I moved back from Seattle, we had a Corey Barton home. So
Yeah. Yeah.
it's a common theme for sure. Okay, so we talked about some people that have inspired you, but what are your kind of your goals and your aspirations? Like, what do you see in the next year, 5 years? Like, we've talked about it, but share with our listeners, what do you want to have happen? I know this is a big goal for you.
Yeah. I Like I said, I've always loved what I do, but I'm ready, but I've done it for a lot of other people. I've done the PR. I help them tell their story, and I'm 50 some years old, and I'm just ready to tell my story.
Yeah.
And I have a great partner who's younger than I am that works with me. Her name's Wendy Ralph, and she's a great writer, and we've been working together for quite a while now. Really have a great click. So I really want to, and it's not all about me, but I've probably helped, oh gosh, probably over 200 people, like over the last 10 years, start their own business.
Yeah.
And so I really want to focus on that. So I want to be able to, Wendy and I want to be able to help people, especially women. I think I told you the other day that our goal is going to try to help 1 million women start businesses. This is the time, the pandemic it's been hard on everyone, not just women, but
Right.
a lot of women have had to go back into the home because kids have to be homeschooled, and and they've had to families have had to make choices, and women have had to make some choices or to care for parents and grandparents. And so, I think there's a lot of unsettling, it's unsettling right now. And so I think this is the perfect time to inspire people to think about starting their own business, moving forward, and kind of taking control of their own destiny. It's the American dream is to have your own business, and I think we're kind of in that moment right now with some whether you were a Trump fan or you're a Biden fan, either way, I just think we're in a moment with the pandemic and a lot of things. There's been a lot of happening, flooding, ice storms, just a lot of things happening. I think people are looking for hope, and I think it's time to reinvigorate the American dream. And so I hope to be part of that and help women start businesses, and men too. Like I said, I'm not opposed to that, but anyway.
But supporting the journey that they need to go through in order to
Yeah.
get their business going and starting. And
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to that too, because I think that there's some things that we'll get to help you do along in that journey to help
Yeah.
these women and men get their businesses started, and the
Yeah.
things that they'll need to do that. And Wendy's a designer and a photographer, right? And so
Yeah,
she
and she's
also,
also a writer, an award-winning writer, just multi-talented. And so she's be very complimentary to her skills. And one of the things that we're going to do is we help, like I said, I've always helped people with their PR, marketing, those kind of things, but partner with someone like you who can help fulfill versus us doing that. So helping people set up with their businesses, let them know what they need, and then hire people like you to actually help them, start a podcast. I don't want to be editing that every week. I don't even, I'm sure I'll know what I'm doing at some point, but, finding professionals that are passionate to help in some of the areas that I've typically been in that role before. Wendy and I've been in that role. We want to help inspire people, and then partner with people like you to make their entrepreneurial dreams come true. So
Right. Yeah. Whether they need the website or the videos that go on it or their social
yeah.
media or all the fulfillment side. So you can put the strategy and plan in place and help with the messaging and the communication that they need to do. And then, yeah, like you said, we can help fulfill that and make that happen. I'm excited about that part too.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. So in your business along the way, you've had people that you've maybe called on to support you, right? Coaches always need coaches. Who are some people that you've had help you along the way? Who are your helpers that got you to where you are now?
Yeah, that's a good question. And I've been lucky, starting even when I was, in junior high and high school. I said I was an athlete, so I've had a lot of coaches, and I think that's why I'm always so positive. And I was always in leadership roles, kind of growing up, and so a lot of mentors along the way. That my family, they're very hard workers, had their own business that was in the farm industry, and there's a lot of ups and downs. It was back in the 70s when there was recession back then, and so and my family, and then of course. I got my husband, we've been married for, oh my gosh, almost 30 years. And,
Congratulations, by the way. That's kind of like an
yeah,
anomaly these days.
yeah. And so,
I have to tell
especially
you,
when like one's living in one place and the other, although it's kind of
yeah.
worked out nicely, we definitely don't bicker anymore. Like when we're together, and we didn't bicker a lot before, but it's just not, you're like, why would we spend our time arguing about anything? So,
Yeah.
it's been kind of good. And he spends all the summers out here, but anyway,
Yeah.
he's always been he's inspired me. He's one of those, he's been at Bishop Kelly as long as we've been married. He's happy in his job. He loves working with kids, and Bishop Kelly is just a phenomenal place for phenomenal high school. And so, he's been inspiring. Just always stay the course. And I like to kind of hop around sometimes. So he's been good and always been really supportive. And we were lucky with him being a teacher. I've been able to do my thing, and I work all the days of the year pretty much just like you. But he had the summers off, and he eventually quit coaching also. And so we didn't, during the summers, he was home with the kids, or after school, he could go get the kids. And it was really it's really, really nice to have that support, and it's been really inspirational. I've definitely had also some great, there's some great mentors in my life. People, I really believe, and if you're going to look for a job, and when you're applying for a job and going through the process, people are referencing you, like they're digging into you. But I've always thought from the very beginning when I started, like it's really important for me to work for the right people and the right kind of person, or the right culture. And so if I'm going to have a boss that I'm going to report to, or people that I'm going to work with, I'm going to like dig in and really understand what I'm getting myself into. And then that also helps me understand like what I need to do to fit in, or if it's not going to be a fit. And so, I've always had really, really great bosses and people that I look up to. There's a guy in Boise, a lot of people are aware of him. He's at St. Luke's. His name's Dave Self. I met him. I think you might have done some work with us on primary health, but not the medical, the doctor, but primary health when they had the insurance company, any of the payer. And anyway, so I met Dave when he came from Seattle, and he's just always a really great person. I don't really do anything without talking to Dave on a business. He just got really great insight. So to have someone like that to talk to, and then just the one thing I miss about Boston, and probably one of the bigger influences in my life, is I've got people like you, like in Boise. I have my girlfriends that I can, have lunch with, and like once a week or once or twice a week, I would try really hard to get out at least once a week and meet with another woman, and just talk about everything from family to what they're doing professionally, what's going on in the community. And I've done a little bit of that in Boston, but I don't have my little tribe as I do back in Boise. And
Well,
so
the
I do come back.
pandemic is probably kind of set you back just a little bit because now you can't go out and go to a restaurant very
Exactly.
easily
Yeah.
now. But yeah.
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 So it's not only being away from Boise, but the pandemic has been,
Mhm.
you know, hard to catch up with people also. So anyway, I miss that.
Yeah.
A lot of great women in my life that have helped inspire me to keep going, and I try to do the same for them. I always try to give people something, you know, when I'm talking to them, or try to help them in some way.
Right. Okay, so since we are on a marketing expedition together, we're going through this journey. What are some things that you have used in your own business to help you promote and get new business in the door? What are some tactics that you've taken that have helped you with your business?
I think the biggest thing, and I was just talking to my students about this today because we were talking about in my ad management class about new business, and they were asking me like, "How do you get new business?" And I would have to say that from a very young age, my father drilled in my head that you just keep busy and do a really work hard and do a really good job, like, you know, and deliver on what you say you're gonna do. And I have been so fortunate over my career, whether whether I was with Red Sky and we had that team, but you know, we always really strive to give best in class, you know, service, and not just service, but building those relationships and that trust with people. And so almost all of my business throughout all of these years, and I never thought I'd say all of these years, but has really been about building relationships and building trust with clients and doing a good job. Even now, like with my clients, I tell them like, if you're not happy, I'm not gonna charge you. You know, I really want to make sure that, and if we have an issue, I want you to bring it up right away. And so that's been, it sounds maybe kind of old fashioned, but you're not going to get, you know, the reputation that you need to be successful in anything that you do if you don't deliver on what you say you're going to do, and always be looking to deliver best in class and working really hard. So that's probably the biggest thing. That's how I built my clientele here, or in most of them around the country, is I got one and then I got another, and I just keep getting referrals because we deliver on, and people forget that. You think, yeah, it's super important. You know, I've been, you know, social media, I'm very active. I use Facebook a little bit different. I use that to get to know the clients. Most of them are on Facebook eventually. And it's, you know, and to keep in touch with media and those kind of things. Twitter has been big in terms of keeping relationships with the media, helping connect with them, not just with what I'm doing as a professional or as an organization, but also, you know, what they're covering and what they're doing. So I don't know, relationship building, working hard, and being able to get referrals. That's what's taken me through the pandemic, is people, like, things just kept, business just keeps popping up until I can't really handle anymore. So it's your reputation really is your most precious asset that you have in your business. And I would encourage you to always, you know, keep that to the forefront if you're in any kind of business.
I love it. No, that is definitely a quotable moment, Steph. Relationships are your biggest asset in your business.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
that's good stuff right there.
Yes.
How do people get a hold of you? How do they work with you if they need your PR services?
Yeah, obviously, you can give me a call or shoot me an email. You could send it to STEPHWORRELL at THINK SDULO.com. Shoot me an email, and or 208-484-9470. I'm a big texter, so, and I usually don't turn down a text if you need something. So always willing to take a phone call or a text and set something up so we can connect.
Oh yeah, and what made you think of the name of your company?
Sedulo is Latin for go thoughtfully. So that's kind of how I thought. I don't know. I did a lot of branding. I went through the branding process.
Yeah.
For once, I used it on myself. And anyway, I then worked to come up with the studio. I really like the meaning of it. And Sedulo itself was not available, so we did think Sedulo. So
that's awesome. I love it. I think that we've pretty much covered a lot. Is there anything that you would like to share with our audience in terms of what they can do to build their brand and their bottom line? Your final thoughts, Steph?
Yeah. As I mentioned, again, it's all about your reputation and doing good work. That's the first thing you need to do. You'll not succeed if you can't deliver on that. So that's the first and foremost. And then, be willing to, one of the things that I have always believed in is, I just staying with not with the times, but keeping up on, not being that 50-year-old person that, doesn't understand how to use social media, or at least understand technology. And I think it's really important, because more than ever, again, because of the pandemic, like, everyone is online. So as you're building your business, you need to understand, or hire people like you, Ray, and Peppershock to help deliver an online presence, a social media strategy, but even though you're not delivering it, like, trying to understand, making sure you understand what you're spending your money on, and then hiring the right people to deliver on that. So I think those are probably the two things: reputation, work hard, and then stay up with the technology. And if you don't understand it, get somebody like Peppershock and the team to help you deliver. So.
Well, thanks for that plug. That was nice.
Yeah, I'm a big fan, so I didn't need to do that, but I've always been a big fan of Peppershock and Ray Allen for sure. So, anyway.
You're too kind. Well, thank you, Steph, for sharing all of your quotable wisdom and moments with us, and the stories that you had to tell and share. I'm sure that our listeners will appreciate that from you. So thank you very much for your time, Steph.
Sure. Thanks for having me. It's been a pleasure. So, and an honor.
Absolutely. And for those of you listening, please go and subscribe and share our podcast and give us some reviews. And until next time, enjoy the journey.
Thanks for listening to the Marketing Expedition podcast. Find more online at peppershock.com. Wouldn't it be great if there was one place you can go to get all the latest information and tips about marketing and advertising? The Marketing Expedition community is that place. People like you gather in our online community to build relationships with others and find the latest marketing trends, tactics, tools, and technology. We help you build your brand and your bottom line. Start your adventure today. Visit themarketingexpedition.com to find out more.